Okay, so we have talked about conferences and events before, but this time, today, I'm going to actually talk about a little bit something controversial, and that is virtual events versus in-person events, and how to make the decision, really, honestly, if you're deciding between the two. I'm going to actually make a case for the other side today, and on why attending a conference virtually is actually better, and the best tips and tricks to know to get the most out of a virtual experience. I am Kathy Olson from Funnel Gorgeous, and we actually run our own event called Marketer's Heart every single year. We usually do it in person and virtually. Some years, during what time, we actually had it only virtual. We've done it only in person, and then the last one we did virtually and in person at the same time, kind of this hybrid model. Next year for 2023, we're also doing this hybrid model where you can either come virtually or in person. My personal preference is in person, but I have a lot of times when I have gone to things virtually and I had a specific reasons why I did, and I still had a great time. So I really want to focus on the plus sides and the upsides of actually going virtual, because there's a lot. Okay, so the most obvious one, most obvious pro of going virtually is there are no travel expenses, which can add up extremely quickly. But the cool thing about having no travel expenses is this can actually allow you to spend more money on a conference because you don't have the travel. So you can maybe afford a certain conference or an event that you could not afford before because you don't have to add on the travel expense. Usually events don't include the hotel stay, which can be, for a 3, 4, 5 day event can be like easily $1,000, guys. I mean, trust me, this gets expensive. Not to mention the driving cost or the gas cost or flying if it's not nearby, it's not within driving distance. Just even eating once you're there, there's so many costs. It literally can double or triple the price of the event by going in person. I've done it, and I've spent more money on the travel and accommodations and the food than I have on the actual ticket. So obviously it can get really expensive, but also the most important thing, it can make it so that you can't even go. You couldn't even afford to go, or it doesn't make sense to go. Not only that, when you do have to travel, there's a time expense as well, because you have to include all the travel time. It can make the event basically last like 2 extra days. If it takes a day to get there and a day to get back, that's 2 extra days that you're away from your family, away from your business, away from all the things, and it can cost you an opportunity cost. I wanted to start with that one because it's probably the most obvious, but it's a really big deal. So I wanted to actually say this is probably one of the most important reasons why you would buy a virtual ticket versus an in-person ticket. The second one is probably not as obvious, but it is extremely important, and it is when you attend virtually, you get more sleep. I know this sounds funny, especially if you're an introvert. I've done events both ways where I've been really extroverted or introverted. I'm about 40% introvert and 60% extrovert. So sometimes the introvert wins and I still don't sleep well. You're in a hotel bed, all that good stuff, right? It's not as comfortable as home. You are talking to people. You are being pushed to your limits. You maybe are getting up earlier than you're used to have to get ready. You're probably staying out later, so your sleep basically sucks. I can't say one event that I ever went to where I got great sleep. Every event I ever go to, I come home sleep deprived. So that's a big deal, especially when you're trying to use your brain, you're trying to like take notes, you're trying to learn things, and your brain is like not quite working correctly because you haven't slept. That's a huge one and a really huge plus on going to an event virtually. You can sleep whenever you need to. You can take naps even if you need to. You can do whatever you want to do because you're at home, you're comfortable, all the good things. You can get your normal amount of rest. You come rested, your brain is like probably way more in sync than the people who are actually at the event. The third thing is, and this is going to be a little controversial probably, but who cares, is that you can pick and choose what to attend. So obviously, in a perfect world, you'll attend all the sessions, you'll come to everything, but there's usually not really any way for them to make you do that. So it's kind of cool because when you're in virtual, and I guess you could technically do this when you're in person, but it's a little bit harder to do. But when you're virtual, you can kind of pick and choose, and you can actually duck out if you're not liking a speaker, or it's not something you need to know, which would be really awkward in person. This has happened to me before when I've been in person sitting in and I'll start to hear a speaker and I'm like, oh, this is actually not relevant to me, but I'm not gonna be able to like get up in the middle and like actually walk out. Like, how embarrassing, like for me, but also for the speaker, but also for everybody else, right? So I have to sit through the whole thing, even though it might not pertain to me. Maybe they're a great speaker, but it has nothing to do with me or my business, and I have to sit there and listen to it, and I'm stuck, right? Whereas if you're virtual, you can pop in, see how things are going, see if it fits for you, and if it doesn't, just close it till the next one. No harm, no foul. Nobody knows that you came or left or anything. attending. So it's actually a really cool plus into being in a virtual experience, is that you can pick and choose which ones are going to fit you, but also you can leave very discreetly if not. And the last thing that I want to talk about today, and it's probably one of my favorite parts of virtual, honestly, like maybe this should have been the #1 because it's my favorite thing as far as why I like virtually attending, is the live chat feature. So most events, and I would say if they don't have this, then you should need to tell them to have this, because I've seen it pretty much in every event. But having a live chat feature where other people who are virtual can chat with each other. A million reasons why, but this is something that I really miss out on when I'm actually at an event. So when you're at an event, you're sitting there, you can't talk to the people next to you, you can't ask anybody questions because it's rude to talk while someone's talking. But during an event where you're virtual, you can actually chat with each other. You can be like, wait, what did that person say? What was point number 3? Wait, what are they talking about? What's the website for that? What do you guys think about this? Oh, that makes sense. You're actually like live time talking with other people around you. You're able to understand the information that you're receiving better because you can actually talk to people. And I don't mean like in a distracting way. I mean like we're watching this together and we can actually say, hey, I don't understand that, or what do you think about that, or what does this mean? Which is so cool because you can dive into the minds of other people. You can kind of like hive mind it. You can sort of work things out. And so I think it's really cool. And if I do start to get distracted by the chat, I always just don't look at it, right? If you're getting distracted by what people are talking about, you just focus back on the speaker. It's really not like, it's not intrusive because you're choosing to read it, right? It's not like listening to a lot of people talk. And so I think it's really cool. You make some very cool connections in the chat too. I've totally met people through the virtual chat, and then we like, you know, hooked up later and kind of worked together and that kind of stuff too. So I think it's really, really cool and very interesting. You also you meet people from all over the world. That's kind of another side effect of having that chat, is you're actually talking to people usually from all over the place, people who couldn't necessarily travel to the US or wherever it's at. It's a very cool feature, and you only get it while you're doing it virtual. So when you think about it, all 4 things that I covered today, no travel cost, getting plenty of sleep, and you know, sleeping in your own bed, picking and choosing what you want to come to, or if you want to leave one or bounce or do something, even maybe getting snacks, you know, you get more snacks, more bathroom breaks, you know, that's another side effect. And then of course the last thing being the live chat, being able to chat with each other live, real time, getting good feedback and stuff. All 4 of those things you do not receive when you're in person. So yes, in person is great. We actually made a whole other video, you guys can check that out, about in-person connections and what happens at events and stuff like that. So there are definitely cool things. There's an upside to going in person, but all of the 4 things that I talked about today are virtual only. They're virtual exclusive. You cannot get these in person unless you're like the rudest person on earth and just don't care and you get up and walk out, or if you're chatting with your person like next to you, super rude, I guess. So hopefully I've shown you the value of these virtual events and how they can add to your business and your life, and how they can work really well with whatever else you've got going on. I do want to throw a bonus tip to you guys, and that is to make it successful. So one thing that I've found out, and this is just one bonus tip for you guys, is to actually build time to actually attend the event. So you want to get some quiet time, you want to get uninterrupted time. Sometimes I actually do get a hotel, although that would have an additional cost. Obviously you're not going to save on that side of it, but sometimes I do actually get a hotel room, and just so that I am really like focused. So I think the biggest thing I can tell you is to protect your focus. Make sure that you block in the time, that you're showing up when it starts, when it ends, all those things, taking lots of notes, getting lots of water, taking your bathroom breaks, getting great snacks, you know, just take care of yourself during it so that you can show up the best way that you possibly can. That's the biggest thing for success. Otherwise, I think it's pretty self-explanatory and it's pretty easy to follow along. I think it actually makes it easier to follow along with the live chat and taking notes and all that good stuff. I actually prefer virtual events that are hybrid, that are happening real time, versus ones that are just like a summit that's pre-recorded. I really like the idea of how going to a live event virtually. You don't see it very often because it's expensive and actually kind of hard to pull off from the event standpoint, but it's important for us to do it, and so we do it for our event for Marketer's Heart. We are having the event in 2023. It's in February 7th through 9th, 2023 in New Orleans. It's going to be live, but we also have the virtual component because we know that virtual is awesome too. And like I said, it's very rare that people do both because it's, trust me, it's expensive, but it's worth it, and we do a great job at it. We do the best we could possibly do. We get you all oriented, you know exactly where to go, you have everything there, you have your chat, we have even like networking events, we have little virtual parties, all kinds of stuff. We do everything we possibly can to make it the best virtual experience you've ever had. So I would love to invite you to come to Marketer's Heart 2023. We will be live in New Orleans, but it's going to be live from your home, from your internet connection and your computer and all your creature comforts. So I'd love to invite you to come and check it out. Go to marketersheart.com to grab your virtual tickets. We don't sell out of virtual tickets, so you don't have to worry about that. The prices do go up as we get closer to the event, so right now is going to be the cheapest that you can get it. So go ahead and check that out. Pick up a ticket. We actually do have a Facebook group specifically for virtual attendees so you guys can get to know each other better before the event. All in all, it's going to be a great party straight from your home. So come join us at marketersheart.com, and otherwise we do these videos every single week. So we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much, guys.